What is up, guys? Happy Monday. Happy December. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. We're doing the post-game notes for Week 13. If you guys are new to the show, I log the snaps, the routes, the rushing attempts, the targets, the receptions, and the fantasy points. And all of this is available at thefantasyfellowship.com. Just become a member there. It's $8 a month. Better deal packages for the season long. But check that out if you want. We're going to kind of go quicker tonight than normal. Basically, what I'm going to do on Monday nights is just we're just trying to look at this, we want to look at the snapshot of a team and see what we have to learn and see if we have to make any adjustments from this team. So we're going to start with the Thanksgiving Day games, Packers, Detroit Lions, really fun game. Jordan Love throwing touchdowns. He ends up with one of his best fantasy nights of the year. It was Romeo Doubs, 4 catches on 4 targets. It was Christian Watson who's starting to he's kind of their number one receiver right now. If I had to start any Packers receiver just on a weekly basis and leave him there, it's Christian Watson, who has the deep touchdown, 4 catches on 10 targets, 18 fantasy points. It was Dontavian Wicks with the 2 big touchdowns, though, 6 catches, 28 fantasy points on the year. This was refreshing to see. The Packers needed a little offensive boost here. They get it with these 3 receivers. They're going to get Jaden Reed back. They're going to get Matthew Golden back. So this receiver group and Jordan Love, arrow is all pointed up for these guys. Josh Jacobs did come back after missing week 12, 10 fantasy points. He was enough to be okay for a floor. He did kind of leave and come back into this game, so hopefully he's using the extra few days to get rested. But no changes really with the Packers. We're not using the tight end. Jordan Love's probably a fringe QB1, strong QB2. You're starting Josh Jacobs. And then right now, I think you got to add Dontavian Wicks. He's going to be at the top of my waiver wire column. So Doubs and Watson, wide receiver 3 flexes. Wicks will be a waiver wire pickup for me. Detroit Lions didn't really learn anything here. We did have an injury to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's got the ankle thing. I don't think he's going to play they play Thursday Night Football right away against Dallas. So it's looking doubtful. He didn't practice today. And we saw everything roll through Jameson Williams here. 10 targets, 7 catches, big touchdown, 27 fantasy points. It was pretty much the Jameson Williams breakout in this one. They used Isaac Tesla a lot more. He was the clear number 2, and then Tom Kennedy. So if Amon-Ra does miss on Thursday Night Football, sure, maybe Isaac Tesla should be at the top of my waiver column if you need a spot start. The tight ends are completely useless here. Ross Dwelley, Anthony Firkser, those are going to be the guys, but not enough for fantasy. And then the running backs, both Gibbs and Monty, kind of hit decent numbers here. A lot more Montgomery in this one than we've seen in the last few weeks. So nothing really changed here. Again, if Amon-Ra is out, we'll look at Tesla. Jameson Williams, though, he's a must start if Amon-Ra is out. Big game, Detroit, Dallas, man. I'm looking forward to that Thursday Night Football game. It's a mini NFC wildcard sneak preview. Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys. We didn't really learn anything about the Chiefs. We did get Isaiah Pacheco back, who kind of comes in and just steps right back into his number 2 role. It was still the Kareem Hunt show, who had 14 carries, pretty much did all the snaps and the routes anyways. He remains a low-end RB2 play. I don't think I'm going to use Isaiah Pacheco if I have him. He's just he's a running back 3 flex, not really a great play, but he does get the ball when he's out there. So maybe his role grows. But going into, they're going to get the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football, which is, again, that's an AFC mini wild card playoff matchup. Some really good matchups this coming weekend. So for the Chiefs, you're going to keep playing Hunt if you have him. Pacheco's a fringe, flex RB3 guy, more of an emergency situation. Hopefully you don't need him. And then, keep starting Rice, keep starting Worthy. Worthy looks better, kind of establishing an 8 to 10 point PPR floor. You're going to keep Kelsey going. So didn't really learn too much here. Mahomes with a big day. Chiefs ultimately lose. Tough matchup coming up, though, against those Houston Texans. That's not a fun defense to have to play against. Dallas Cowboys, it's kind of rinse and repeat. We didn't really learn anything. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens are both really good at football. Jake Ferguson still collecting a lot of short area targets. Javonte Williams continues to be the bell cow here. No changes here. Dallas has a lot of momentum right now. I think they could go into Detroit and win on Thursday Night Football. So really looking forward to that one. Didn't really learn anything here. They're just going to keep on humming. Cincinnati Bengals, we got a sneak peek here at Joe Burrow, and it took a little while for him to get going, but he established himself throughout the game, and he looked good throwing the ball. And he didn't have T. Higgins, which I think is going to be a big boost for them next weekend. But Burrow, I think I'm going to probably rank him as a top 10, top 12 QB going forward. As long as he's out there, I think he knocked the rust off here. The major development here was the Chase Brown, Samaje Perine split. Perine had been missing a few games earlier, the last few games, but he comes back and kind of forces a 50-50 split here. 15 carries for Brown, 14 for Samaje Perine, and then Chase Brown just really hit the reception lottery here. 7 targets, 7 catches. That made his PPR day look really good. Otherwise, we'd be really concerned with this split. So keep that in mind. Samaje Perine probably worth a pickup just in case Chase Brown gets hurt. I would say Samaje Perine's a priority handcuff going forward. And Perine actually looked pretty good on a lot of those carries. Ja'Marr Chase, no notes here. Andre Yoshivas remains a big play boom bust guy and not someone that I want to put in my lineup. But we're going to watch for T. Higgins. If Higgins is out, yeah, you can think about some of these guys. But if Higgins is out, I'm just sticking with Burrow, Chase Brown, and Ja'Marr Chase. The tight ends all kind of eat into each other's workload here. They run 4 tight ends, Sample, Fant, Gesicki, Hudson. Hudson, who runs the least amount of snaps and routes, he gets rewarded with the touchdown. So the whole tight end situation's in the void for Cincinnati, but keep plugging in these guys. Burrow, Chase, Higgins for sure, Chase Brown for sure, and then we'll probably pick up Samaje Perine this week. The Ravens are in a huge funk. Not looking good. They can still win the AFC North, which is good, and that it could very easily happen, but the gap is shortening here with the Bengals coming back. The Steelers are still kind of there, but they're in neutral. Didn't really learn anything here. Lamar is struggling though. 3 straight pretty bad games from Lamar Jackson, 3 of the worst games I've seen from him. And then I guess what did we learn here with Justice Hill on IR? You see Rasheen Ali step into that receiving role. He actually led the team in running back snaps with 29, 18 routes as the primary passing down back, 4 rushing attempts and no targets, but consider him, a version of Justice Hill where they whip him out on passing downs. Derrick Henry still managed to get you a good fantasy day despite not playing a lot. And then Keaton Mitchell continues to look good. I think Keaton Mitchell's worth a pickup in deeper formats. Rashad Bateman's still kind of useless. You're going to keep starting Zay Flowers. I think it'll get better. This was pretty much an ugly floor game for Lamar and the passing attack as a whole. Mark Andrews, we wanted that awesome matchup here against the Bengals because they're so bad against tight end, and we only get 8.5 points from Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely got all the yards, 12.5 fantasy points for him. So that still remains sticky. The Bengals do allow a ton of tight end points. They actually allowed, I think, what is that, like 24 fantasy points here to the tight end. So didn't learn anything about the Ravens, but we were kind of getting nervous about our Lamar Jackson stuff. Black Friday game, Chicago Bears, Philadelphia Eagles. Impressive game from the Bears. The running game was just insane. They get 40 combined carries between DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. 20 points for Swift, 19 for Monangai. This is the engine of the offense. And Caleb Williams didn't really need to do much in this one. He completed 17 passes from his 30 attempts, under 10 fantasy points. This is kind of the identity I think that they want. They want to run the ball. They want Caleb to be kind of a bumper bowler, just a managing guy that can get the ball out when he needs, use his legs, that kind of thing. But this was a huge, huge game, propels the Bears to first in the NFC as a whole. And we didn't really learn much. Luther Burden continues to be, a strong bench stash for future, but DJ Moore and Odunze, both guys that are just really frustrating to own right now in fantasy. And I don't even know if these guys are must starts at this point right now. I'm probably going to push them both to wide receiver 3 flexes. So we're a little bit frustrated there. The tight end committee of Kmet and Loveland is frustrating because Loveland's been playing better, but now Kmet gets the touchdown. Kmet plays more snaps. Loveland runs more routes. It'd be nice to get that consolidated, but pretty frustrating fantasy offense besides the running game. And at this point, Kyle Monangai is probably a running back 3. I'll probably have him ranked in the top 30 running backs for my week 13 rankings. Just Bears continuing to play good football, running the ball, playing good defense. Just the fundamentals are there for this team right now. We didn't really learn anything about the Eagles in this one. Saquon Barkley is just not having a good year. 13 carries, 2 targets, no catches, under 6 fantasy points on the season. No other running back got the ball. So Shipley Bigsby, I don't even know who the handcuff would be there. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both run a lot of routes and played a lot of snaps. It just all went to A.J. Brown in this one with the 2 touchdowns, 35 fantasy points. Finally, You get rewarded for your A.J. Brown patience. And then Devonta Smith with the floor game. I think Dallas Goedert's just a fringe tight end one at this point, probably more like a top 15 ranking for me. But I'm pretty concerned here. This was a home game, and it looked really bad on offense here. Jalen Hurts still a QB1. You're going to keep plugging away Saquon Barkley, but he might be a running back too, I think, in my rankings for rest of season rankings. He just has not been good this season. A.J. Brown, though, is going to move up my rest of season rankings. Devonta Smith was already pretty high, and Goddard I'll probably keep as a top 15 tight end. Alrighty, we're into the Sunday games. The Rams upset by the Carolina Panthers here. We didn't really learn anything about the Rams. You know, Adams still a touchdown machine. Nakua's still really good. The tight ends are a mess with Parkinson, Allen, and Ferguson. None of these guys are really usable, but Parkinson is their tight end one right now. Don't really care for fantasy, however. The running backs, let's take a look at that because Kieran Williams gets 13 carries. Blake Corum gets 7. Kieran left the game. He comes back in the game, but Blake Corum looked really good. He did get a rushing touchdown in this one, and he had some big chunk carries as well. Just the injury seal could be broken on Kieran Williams, and maybe we kind of see this 2/3 split going forward because basically that's what this was. This was 66% Kieran, the other percent, Blake Corum. So definitely a handcuff stash that I want the rest of the season. But overall, I guess no real changes to the fantasy outlooks for these guys. The Panthers, on the other hand, we do have to talk. Well, Bryce Young, still not a QB1 for fantasy, but he's going to move up in my rest of season rankings. He'll probably be a mid quarterback 2 for me in Superflex leagues. But we got to talk about this Chuba Hubbard breakout game. He outplays Rico Dowdle by a mile, 38 snaps to 27, 15 routes to 6. 17 carries for Chuba, 18 for Dowdle. So Dowdle's still involved in getting all the touches that you want from like 18 carries and 2 receptions. That's fantastic. But Chuba just dominated. He had the huge touchdown catch, 17 carries. He had so many yards, 2 receptions in this one, 20 fantasy points. I'm not quite sure how to look at this going forward. I'm probably going to rank Rico Dowdle as like a mid to low end RB2 and Chuba probably as a low end RB2, more of an RB3. Both guys can be in your lineup next week. And that's kind of how they're on bye in week 14, so we don't have to worry about it. But man, it's a frustrating backfield here if they're going to be splitting this. Keep playing. Ted McMillan, he only had 2 targets, but 1 big catch for a touchdown. Jalen Coker should be picked up. He's looking like a favorite target for Bryce Young right now. He led with 5 targets, 4 catches, and the big touchdown. Also made a couple big catches throughout the day. And then we just simply don't care about the Panthers tight end. I think they need to draft one next year. Jatavian Sanders just isn't working out. Mitchell Evans is fine, but he's not a guy that you want to hang your hat on. And Tremble's been there for, it feels like, 5 years. San Francisco 49ers hang on to beat Cleveland. Didn't really learn much in this one. You're going to keep using CMC. Juwan Jennings remains as the primary receiver that we want. You're going to keep using George Kittle. But Ricky Pearsall right now, I think, I don't want to drop him, but I've gotten that question and I've been thinking about it. Like, is he just droppable right now because he's just not producing? I would hold on to him if you can, because all it takes is one big game from Ricky Pearsall and he's back into our starting lineup. So I'm going to say hold on to Pearsall if you can, but right now he's not startable. We need to see it before we throw him out there. And then Brock Purdy continues to look good running the ball. Just an efficient day for him, 16 of 22. Didn't really have to do too much. They ran the ball 28 times with their 2 backs and took care of business on the road. So good win for the 49ers. Didn't really learn too much from them, however. Cleveland Browns, like, you're going to keep using Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannin Jr., but we honestly can't use Judy, Tillman, any of the receivers. Even Njoku's completely gone now. I think Dylan Sampson got hurt with a calf injury, so we saw more Jerome Ford. But at this point, for the Browns, it's Judkins. Yeah, keep playing him, and then Fannin's a low-end tight end 1. But otherwise, the Browns are just a complete avoid. You can maybe mess with Shedeur Sanders in a Superflex league, but I have no interest in the Browns outside of the Judkins, Fannin stuff. Very exciting future, though, for that offense. Quinshon and Fannin and some fun players to build around there. The Houston Texans, they upset the Colts, man. Pretty good win for them. Nico Collins did his thing. He got a rushing touchdown in this one. Jaden Higgins continues to just cement himself as the clear number 2 receiver in this offense. He caught all 5 of his targets, and he's kind of a wide receiver 3 flex now, developing really nicely. And then the Dalton Schultz, CJ Stroud connection was evident. 7 catches, 7 targets, 12.5 fantasy points. He can be a low-end tight end 1 for you if you need it. And Stroud, he's not a QB1 at this point, but a strong QB2 in Superflex leagues. This was a floor game here, 9 fantasy points. Nick Chubb got a rushing touchdown because Woody Marks was in and out of the lineup. But Marks does continue to get a lot of touches, 19 rushing attempts, 1 reception. I'm still going to have Woody Marks ranked as a top 24 running back. And Chubb's still looking okay. I thought we would have. I wrote Chubb off a long time ago, but he continues to look okay enough to be a RB3 touchdown dependent flex. So we didn't really learn anything here from the Texans. Christian Kirk shouldn't be on a fantasy roster right now. And then what are they doing with these Cade Stover rushing attempts? I wish that would go away. Colts didn't really learn anything here. This is the same format of this offense that we've seen all year. Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, Pierce, and Tyler Warren are all options for us. Alec Pierce continues to look like a really strong, fun. He's kind of like a Christian Watson type, a wide receiver 3 flex that can just make a big play to get your day for you. Michael Pittman kind of disappeared in this one catch on 4 targets. And then Josh Downs had some big catches, but he's not really an asset for fantasy right now. So, struggling here. The Colts lost the lead to the Jags. They're going to get Jacksonville this weekend. I'm really excited to see that AFC South division go down. New Orleans Saints, what did we learn here? Devin Neal looked okay enough. He got you 10 fantasy points in PPR. You're happy with that. He led the way with 14 carries, 3 catches. Would like to get more production on those touches. Like 17 touches is great, but can we get a little bit more juice on some of those touches? I thought Tyler Shuck played pretty well. He didn't play well in the first half, but he did put together a really nice second half, throwing the ball to Devon Vele especially. He's going to be a waiver wire priority for me. You have Chris Olave continuing to be a wide receiver 2 for you. And then with Brandon Cooks out of the picture, Mason Tipton's the clear number 3. Not going to care about him, but just a note there. And then Juwan Johnson's still a tight end 1, a low-end tight end 1. So didn't really learn anything with the Saints. I want to see Devin Neal get one more game, though, against Tampa Bay. So, but we got to watch Kamara in his practice reports on Wednesday. The Dolphins, we didn't learn anything. This team is still needing a lot of weapons, but Devon Achane, he gets 19 points without a catch. That's pretty fun for him. He's such a good running back. You're going to keep playing him. Jalen Waddle, I'm going to probably push him down to like wide receiver 3 status. I just don't have a lot of trust in this team right now. Tua didn't look good. The Dolphins were lucky to win this game, and it was pretty much the Devon Achane show. That was the main reason that they were able to win the game. We see Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright kind of split RB2 duties. They both get 3 carries. I don't know who the handcuff's going to be if Achane were to miss time. I'm going to lean Gordon here. He did play more snaps and routes. But Malik Washington, 4 catches, 7 points, just a low-end PPR. Not a guy I want on my team. But Darren Waller's back. Like, let's add Darren Waller. He'll be on my waiver wire list tomorrow. The Falcons, we need Drake London back. But man, oh man, Bijan gets a huge game, 30 fantasy points in this one, 23 carries, 5 receptions, just looking really, really good, but not good enough to beat the Jets. Kirk Cousins, 13.5 fantasy points. He's just going to be a low-end QB2 for me going forward. But I do think Tyler Algier is going to remain a big piece of this offense because he does get those goal line opportunities. He gets 10 touches in this game. The receivers were complete trash. Darnell Mooney, David Sills catching touchdowns. This was a good game for Kyle Pitts, though. 7 catches. He gets you, I think, 82 yards or whatever it was. So good game from Kyle Pitts in this one. Just we need Drake London back to kind of unlock this offense. So what did we learn here? You're going to keep playing Bijan. I think Kyle Pitts is a low-end tight end 1, and hopefully they did say Drake London's day-to-day. So hopefully we get some good news on him for week 14. But Falcon season's kind of over at this point. The Jets. The Adonai Mitchell breakout game, man. 11 targets, 8 receptions, 24 fantasy points. I think he's a low-end wide receiver 3 going forward. I think John Mechie also should be added. I want to target both Jets receivers. Mechie only caught 4 passes, 5.5 fantasy points here, but he did have a good last couple of weeks. So I still think both guys should be owned. But I prefer Mitchell because we see the ceiling here. His ceiling is he's actually a wide receiver 1 for the team. So very good news there. You're going to keep plugging away Breece Hall and Tyrod Taylor with the game-winning rushing touchdown, like QB2 for Superflex, I suppose. And I felt so bad because my guy Chase, who watches the show, he asked me Kirk Cousins or Tyrod Taylor, and I'm like, I think Kirk Cousins is safer. He's going to get you 14 points. Tyrod got us with the rushing touchdown at the end. So there you have it. But Arizona Cardinals, what did we learn here? Trey McBride, really good. Jacoby Brissett's actually really good. I think we've seen Kyler Murray play his last down with this team, and this team needs to start looking for their quarterback of the future. They could honestly give Jacoby Brissett another year next year if that's what they want to do, because he looks good. They just need to be better all around him. The running backs were split pretty much down the middle. Carter and Bam Knight, they both played the same amount of snaps and routes basically, but Bam Knight, he's the clear lead running back with 11 carries. Michael Carter gets 5 carries. Carter's kind of the clear passing down back, even though Bam Knight did catch a touchdown. But both guys were usable. So we saw about 28, 27 fantasy points to the running backs here. Marvin Harrison was looking good. He left with a heel injury. Not sure on the severity of that, but we'll watch for that. Michael Wilson kind of took a back seat. Even though he did have 7 targets, he just didn't, come through. He only had 3 catches. But we got to watch Marvin Harrison's injury because that could be a huge factor for Michael Wilson and maybe Greg Dortch as well. So didn't really learn anything here from the Cardinals. Hopefully Trey Benson's back. Otherwise, this duo of Bam Knight and Michael Carter, it's useful enough for fantasy. Tampa Bay, Bucky Irving was the lead back in his first game, 32 snaps out of 61, so about 50%, 15 routes out of 35, which is fine, but he gets 17 rushing attempts. Rachaad White gets 2, Sean Tucker gets 2. So, yeah, we're starting Bucky Irving. There should be no more questions on do I start Bucky Irving at this point. He gets a rushing touchdown, 16 fantasy points. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Sean Tucker is just going to be a handcuff, I guess, because they like Rachaad White still to run routes and do all the third down work here. So Rachaad White, maybe a low-end RB3 flex. I'm going to rank Bucky Irving as probably a low-end RB1 at this point. I think Bucky's back. He looked really good. Emeka Egbuka, I'm going to move down to like wide receiver 3 status. I think next to Chris Godwin, because I thought Godwin looked really good. I kind of wrote Godwin off earlier in the year, but I think both guys at this point, wide receiver 3 flexes. I'm not messing with Tez Johnson. I'm not messing with Cade Otton. Mike Evans, though, we got to see what happens when he comes back. They're saying that he might start practicing this week. So I don't think Evans plays in week 14. I think he plays in week 15. So maybe one more game here for Egbuka Godwin to see what they can do. The Jags, what did we learn here? Trevor Lawrence looks really good throwing the ball to Jacoby Myers and Brenton Strange. Those two guys, they both catch a touchdown in this one. Big yardage plays to Jacoby. Brian Thomas. Oh, I'm waving the white flag on Brian Thomas Jr., man. It's just not going to be there this year. I'm going to take it as a loss. Parker Washington did get hurt in this one, and that's what elevated Austin Trammell up to the number 3 wide receiver stuff. But Thomas, he's just not a go-to player right now in this offense. And not to say that he can't be someday, but just right now, this offense is running through Lawrence to Jacoby, and then Brenton Strange has been a huge part for the last 2 games here. And then the running backs, I thought this was going to be a huge game for the running backs. They get 20 carries, and Bashal Tutin gets a touchdown, but the running room was just not there. It was the passing game that worked against Tennessee. So we didn't really learn anything here. ETN's still a running back 2. I think Tutin's a running back 3. I got a ton of questions on Tutin. And at this point, it's like, do you think Tutin gets a touchdown in this game? Okay, then you can play him as your running back 2. When he doesn't score a touchdown, you get 3 points. When he scores a touchdown, you get the better score there. So what do we learn about the Jags? I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is a fringe QB1 right now. I think you're going to keep playing ETN. I think Jacoby Myers is a must-start wide receiver 2. And then Brenton Strange, I think, is a tight end 1. Brian Thomas is more of a wide receiver 3 flex. And we got to watch the health of Parker Washington. I'm not even going to talk about the Titans, guys. You shouldn't be starting Titans. We should not be starting Titans. I'll say it one more time. We should not be starting Tennessee Titans if you are a serious fantasy football team. Vikings, I don't even want to talk about this because this was just absolutely a joke. Aaron Jones did get hurt in this one, so we saw Jordan Mason kind of take over in the second half. We'll watch for that report. They did say it's not serious, but that could be a week or 2. Who knows? So that's the main takeaway here. Let's see if Aaron Jones is going to be okay with that shoulder. Otherwise, sure, Jordan Mason can be startable. At this point, man, even with JJ McCarthy back in week 14, are we starting these guys? I'm probably going to rank JJ as Justin Jefferson, that is, as a wide receiver 3 flex. I'm not even going to start Jordan Addison. I haven't been starting Hawkinson. I think the Vikings are just something that we want to stay away from right now, even though they get the Washington Commanders at home this weekend. Pretty frustrating day from Seattle. I mean, they won this game 26-0. or to 3 or whatever the hell it was. I think it was nothing, wasn't it? Sam Darnold, 3 fantasy points. Kenneth Walker, 10. Zach Charbonnet, 11. No receiver over 5.5 fantasy points. AJ Barner with 7.7. I'm shocked here that we didn't get anything good here. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 4 points. Really? So pretty frustrating day here. I'm starting to lose a lot of my fantasy trust with the Seahawks. The one thing that I do like here, though, is Kenneth Walker he's taken the share back over of the snaps and the routes. 13 rushing attempts in this one, 3 catches. They're finally starting to throw the ball to him. I think he's had 3 catches in 3 straight games. So his floor is significantly up in PPR leagues. Charbonnet did get like an 8 or 10-yard touchdown run, which is frustrating. But Kenneth Walker looks like the better back. He's getting more opportunities. He's a running back 2. Charbonnet's a running back 3. Guy, if you think he's going to get a touchdown that week, play him. Keep playing JSN. But I mean, we're not using Darnold, maybe in Superflex. Not using the tight ends yet. So pretty frustrating output from that offense. I don't even want to talk about the Raiders. This is one of the worst teams in football. You're going to keep plugging in Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers. That's about it. We'll move on. Chargers, we got to watch the hand injury to Justin Herbert. He's got a fracture in his left throwing hand, or not his left hand, non-throwing hand. He did come back in this one. He threw another touchdown after the injury. He's going to try and play on Monday. I believe he had surgery today on it, so I'm not panicking yet. It was the Kamani Vidal game, 25 carries, 11 carries for Jarrett Patterson behind him. Vidal looks like a competent startable running back in an NFL team. So we're going to get Amari and Hampton back next week. I'm not sure what the split is going to look like. I'm probably going to rank Amari and Hampton as a running back 2 with Vidal as a running back 3. The Chargers clearly want to run the ball. This is the way they want to win football games here. You can see 25 and 11 carries to the top 2 backs. So I think there's room for Vidal still to be a running back 3 flex. And we just didn't have to throw the ball that much. 16 completions for Herbert in this one. McConkey continues to catch touchdowns, and Johnson got you a touchdown. But Keenan Allen, losing faith in him. Oronde Gadsden, losing a little bit of faith in him. But we have a huge game, Monday Night Football, against the Eagles coming up. So we'll kind of reevaluate. But I still like this team. But we have a lot to figure out here with the hand injury for Herbert and Amari and Hampton coming back. But Chargers still a good football team winning games. Buffalo Bills, they win the game, but I continue to feel worse and worse about this team offensively. Josh Allen, you're playing Josh Allen. James Cook, you're playing James Cook. Ray Davis did look good as the backup here for James Cook here, running some big explosive runs. But the receivers are just completely a joke. Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Brandon Cooks, Terrell Shavers leads the team in snaps. Like, none of these guys are really usable right now. If I had to start one Bills receiver and just leave it there, it's Khalil Shakir. But at this point, Shakir goes out and he'll catch 8 passes one game, and then he'll come back and do this 1 for 5 the next week here. So pretty frustrated with the weapons in Buffalo. They need to find something for the future. And then the tight ends are just completely useless as well. We need Dalton Kincaid back. I think he does unlock a lot of stuff for the receivers, but I mean, for now, it's Josh Allen, James Cook, and I don't really want any other part of this Bills offense. It feels weird to say. James Cook with 32 carries on the day. This was a huge game for him, but Buffalo gets the win regardless of the situation. And then what the hell was this? The Steelers, we get a Jaylen Warren touchdown, and then that was pretty much the only good thing that happened. Aaron Rodgers did not complete a pass to any other receiver besides DK Metcalf on the day. The tight ends were useless. Kenneth Gainwell had 6 fantasy points. I don't know what we're doing here with the Steelers offense. They clearly don't have enough talent around Rodgers and Warren and Metcalf to be good. They continue to split these tight ends up in an annoying way for fantasy. There's no clear wide receiver 2. Man, keep starting Jaylen Warren. That's the one piece here. But I think at this point, I don't even know if I want to mess with DK Metcalf on my team. Denver Broncos are able to hold off in overtime here. RJ Harvey, 13 carries, 3 catches. He gets a touchdown, 21 fantasy points. Good game from the rookie. Tyler Beatty is going to be annoying, though, for routes. And then they continue to use Julian McLaughlin. I absolutely loathe you, Sean Payton. I cannot believe that we finally get what we need for RJ Harvey to succeed with the J.K. Dobbins injury. But Sean Payton just continues to hold him back, and he insists on using 3 running backs regardless of the situation. But Harvey remains a running back 2. Bo Nix remains a low-end QB1, strong QB2 for Superflex leagues. Cortland Sutton, better game from him. Big touchdown catch. 40 routes out of 48. He's still the wide receiver 1 in this team, but we had a little shift here. Pat Bryant overtook Troy Franklin. He runs more routes than Franklin, 37 routes to 32 and 49 snaps to 37. So I don't know if this is a one-game thing. Troy Franklin has been playing so well this year, but Pat Bryant has been rising up the depth chart, and he might be the number 2 receiver. So we'll talk about him on the waiver wire column. 7.2 fantasy points, 7 targets on the day. That was second best on the team. I think Pat Bryant's a pickup in fantasy land. And then Evan Ingram, every now and then he'll every blue moon he'll come out and have a nice game, but I still don't really want to use him for fantasy. So keep playing Harvey, Sutton, Nix. Let's add Pat Bryant to the team and see what happens. All right. Hopefully this is the last game we see out of Marcus Mariota this year. He was feisty in this one, man. A good game from him, 23.5 fantasy points. The running backs, yeah, it was Chris Rodriguez as the primary ball carrier. They did give McNichols 6 carries and Krosky Merritt 4 carries. Merritt's droppable at this point if you're holding on to him. I don't see a reason why. They like Chris Rodriguez as the primary ball carrier. And let's just look at the Terry McLaurin game here. They told us out front that he was going to get eased back in, and he comes out and gets 14 targets, 7 catches, a touchdown, 22.5 fantasy points. Like, let's just keep him in the lineup. I really want to see Jaden Daniels back out there week 14, and I'll feel a lot better because I think right now the way that I would do this is, you're going to start Jaden Daniels next week. You're going to play Debo, you're going to play Terry, and then Zach Ertz looked really good last night too. So there's some fantasy juice here left in Washington. It's just all about Jaden Daniels here because we know Mariota can do this, but it took 90 snaps for all these numbers to happen. Usually in a normal game, you're going to get, 50 to 60 snaps here. You can see the Chargers ran 67 here for the Seahawks. In a normal game, you're going to get 50 to 60 snaps. So the overtime and the numbers there did inflate just a little bit. But either way, hopefully we get Jaden Daniels in week 14. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Monday evening, December 1st. We'll be going live tomorrow evening. We're back into a regular week schedule, which is great. The waiver wire show will be Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. So join me there if you have questions or just want to hang out and just hang out, basically. So thank you again. Enjoy the Monday Night Football game tonight, guys. I appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow evening. Peace.